Hey lovelies, welcome back to my channel. If you have not been here before, my name is 𝘧𝘪𝘯𝘥 and thank you so much to everyone for joining me. I'm going to be doing my long-awaited bookshelf reorganization and I am so excited to have you guys along with me while I do this. Now, I do have two of the larger Billy bookcases and I've got one of the slim ones which I have sitting in the middle of the bigger two. I love this layout a lot. I love the cleanliness of the white bookshelves and it just makes me so happy coming into my office library room now that I've got my books laid out. I just love looking at them and I would love to also get a lovely cozy library chair so I can sit in here and read sometimes. Also, while I'm on the subject, if you do see a giant chaise lounge in the middle of my library in this video, just ignore it. We're not going to talk about that, but that's what's happening. It's just bam smack in the middle of my library at the moment, which is just making this even more chaotic, but we're rolling with it. As you can see behind me, I have already taken everything off my shelves, the books, the decorations, everything. I do still need to take off the ivy and the lights. I just don't know if I want to do that now or if I want to wait till I've popped everything in the shelves. And I was watching Katie's readings bookshelf reorganization vlog that she posted not too long ago, and she did sit down and take the time to draw out a plan of what she wants to do with her shelves. So I think I might do that, but when I'm finished talking I will show you guys me emptying my shelves, what they look like before, and yeah, I'm really excited to share it with you. As for plans so far, I'm honestly not too sure what I want to do. I do know that most of my books or most of my collection are Game of Thrones or Middle-earth things, and I love having separate shelves for those, so I'm probably going to do that again and have a Game of Thrones shelf and a Lord of the Rings shelf. Usually I end up with about 2 shelves for each because I just have a lot of that. I also really want to have a Greek retelling shelf because I love my Greek retellings and I really want to make my collection bigger for that. So yeah, that's one that's important to me as well. I would also love to maybe dedicate one of the smaller middle ones to Holly Black and the Cruel Prince series because that is a recent love of mine. So yes, as for the other things, I'm not too sure. I do love my like classical mythology / Venus love shelf. I don't know what to call it, but that's another shelf that I really like. I like the witchy mystical vibes as well. But yeah, I hopefully will find a couple of books that I'm going to get rid of and I will sit down and I'll talk to you guys about those when I come across them. The first book that I'm not too sure about is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Now, I do know that this is a favourite of many people. The last year over social media, I have seen so many videos and reels and posts about how much people love this book. But I just can't. Like, I did get it, I think, a year ago, and I tried to read a couple of chapters of it, and it's just a no for me. I don't know if it's because of when it was set, and I don't know, I can't even remember, but I know I did not like it, so I don't know if I should keep it just in case I want to try and read it, or because of the hype. Should I give it more of a chance? Let me know in the comments. If you think you can convince me, please go ahead, put your case forward for this book, because I'm just not sure if I want to keep it or not. I probably could give it to someone who might actually really enjoy it. The next 2 books are actually part of a trilogy, and I read the first one in 2016. I was about 19, and I hadn't read a book for a long time. I read it in like 2 days on the Kindle app on my computer, and that is Snow Like Ashes by Sarah Rash. I don't know how to pronounce her name, so don't mind me, but I freaking love this book. And so last year I thought, oh, it's a great idea to buy Ice Like Fire. So I tried to read it, and way too young adult for me. The language was so young adult, plain and boring. I was like, I cannot do this. And I feel guilty because I love this book. I remember the world building. Like, do I keep it on my shelves because I do remember the world building? I remember how good of a book this one was. Or do I give it to someone else who might actually like it? Or like, I don't know what to do. It's a bit of a crisis, especially because it's a trilogy. So obviously I would want to get the next one as well. I'm pretty sure it's a trilogy. I do own Night Flyers by George Martin. It is a novella and it's sci-fi. The only reason that I own this is because it's by George Martin, the author of A Song of Ice and Fire / Game of Thrones, and I decided to collect it because, like I said, love his work. This is not fantasy though, and I did mention in my last video that I've been struggling reading some of his fantasy books, but I think I can persevere with them because they're fantasy, whereas this is sci-fi, and I am not friends with sci-fi, although I'm getting tempted by Brandon Sanderson, and that's because of Katie is reading and Cassandra Lynn's videos. But anyway, maybe I should keep this because it's a novella, and I think I'm behind on my Goodreads goal, and so I could probably smash this out. But I think I did try to read it as well, and I was just like, immediately no. But I don't think I can part with it either because George Martin, so just throwing that out there. A book that I recently picked up probably like 2 months ago at a secondhand bookshop is Changeling by Philippa Gregory. So I know the author obviously because I'm pretty sure she wrote like The White Queen and The White Princess, which are TV shows that I'm obsessed with, and she does like a lot of historical fiction. And I see her around literally everywhere. Every secondhand bookshop I go to, every modern day bookshop I go to, I see this author. I do believe years ago when I was researching fantasy books before I actually got back into reading that this book popped up on some really popular suggestions. I love the cover, it's quite cute, but I don't know if I'm ever going to read this. I do think it's very young adult. I did try to read the first couple of pages and I was like, nope. I'm realizing that this is a trend with these books. I read a couple of pages and I'm like, no, it's just not happening. Maybe I need to give things a bit more of a chance because I do know from some of my favorite books that it takes a while to actually get into it. So if you've read this, let me know. I'd love to know your thoughts. Should I just persevere with it? It looks like I could probably smash it out pretty quick as well if I am looking to pick something up to meet my Goodreads goal. That's all I really have to say about that. A book that I own and I know I'm never going to read and I'm going to unhaul is Queen of Storms by Raymond Feist. Now, I always see these in like the shops that are getting rid of multiple copies of books. Like not an op shop, but like the secondhand. No, not secondhand, like the reject bookshops. I don't know if that makes sense. I always see them there. This was cheap, snagged it, don't really know what it's about. If you do know what it's about, if you think it's good, if you didn't like it, comment, let me know. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm just going to get rid of it because I'm never going to read it. I do not know if I'm going to keep this because I did not enjoy it very much, and that is Window Shopping by Tessa Bailey, and I only read this book for 2 reasons. One, it was Jodie's Patreon buddy read in December last year, and 2, I've always wanted to read a Christmassy novel in December, around Christmas, and I finally did that, but this was kind of lame. I do have like imagery in my mind still of what happened in this book, like the descriptions. There was nothing wrong with the descriptions, just the story was boring. The tension between the characters was lame. It was so cliche. I don't know. This is not a good time for me. But having said that, I'm not really into contemporary romance. Like, the fact that there was TikTok in this book pissed me off because I don't want to know about that. I love romance, but only if it's fantasy and only if it's The Witcher. So, it's like 45 minutes later. I'm literally sweating to death now, so that's good. But I have made a lot of progress. I have popped most of the books back onto my shelves now. I'm not really vibing with the Game of Thrones one that I've done. I like the first shelf that I've done for Game of Thrones, but I'm not liking the second one. It just looked kind of lame, so I'm gonna redo that. I have done most of my shelves up the top. I did put all my paperbacks on one side. I don't know, I'll give you a tour at the end, but there are some blank spaces and blank shelves. I think now I'm going to pop all my world building into the shelves and art stuff, and I'm going to rearrange the Game of Thrones one I don't like. I'm going to try and fix the lights and the ivy. I'm not too obsessed with that because I feel like it's just going to come off again, but I'm going to try and do that so it looks chef's kiss. and then I will give you guys just a brief overview of what I've done.